And we at Gravitas continue to get you the latest unfolding in this tragedy. It is Friday, the 27th of October, and Tel Aviv in the latest has been hit by rockets. This footage showing the moment of impact. Missiles hit the city some time ago. At least 3 people have been left injured. This is the latest that we are getting at this moment. You can see parts of the building being scorched. Windows have been blown out. The tension also palpable in Jerusalem's old city. Only a limited number of Palestinians were allowed to offer Friday prayers at the Al-Aqsa Mosque this evening. Water trucks are being used to disperse the Palestinians. The devotees say they were misled and sent from one gate to another and ultimately told to go back home. This is West Bank, where demonstrations have erupted following the Friday prayers. Thousands of Palestinians have gathered in Ramallah city center, carrying Palestinian flags. The build-up at Israel's southern border continues. You can see more tanks moving towards the border with Gaza. The death toll, meanwhile, in Gaza has crossed 7,000. Israel and the United States claiming that these numbers are unreliable, but the United Nations is backing the statistics coming from the Gaza Health Ministry, saying that there is no reason to doubt these numbers. Jihad Kafarna's 8-month-old stillborn child and dead wife have become one of the many faces of this tragedy. They were both killed in an Israeli airstrike on Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza. Kafarna will no longer be able to talk to them, so he is penning down his final message on the shrouds of his wife and child. "My life, my heart, I love you," he writes. Israeli forces entered the Gaza Strip once again. Infantry forces and combat engineering teams were accompanied by fighter jets and drones. Israel says the raid is in preparation for the ground offensive. It has released this video, in fact. Around the time of this raid, US F-16 jets struck 2 targets in Syria. America claims both the facilities were used by Iran's Revolutionary Guards. They were to store weapons and ammunition. You see, the war is fast expanding. In Egypt, 2 Red Sea towns have been hit by projectiles. An unidentified drone crashed into a building in Taba. 6 people have been injured. Another projectile fell in the town of Nuveba. Israel is blaming an unidentified aerial threat.
To our understanding, the origin of the hit that occurred in Egypt was from this threat. Israel will work with Egypt and the United States and will tighten the defense in the region against threats from the area of the Red Sea.
This is the video that locals have captured. Meanwhile, in Iran, the army is holding drills. Reports say these drills are being held near Isfahan in central Iran. They include armory, artillery, and missiles. And we also have visuals of Israeli troops training for what Israel is calling the next stage of the war. Take a look. And here you can see Israeli Naval Commando Unit operating in south of the Gaza Strip. These are visuals from Yemen. Thousands offered Friday prayers in the middle of an anti-Israel protest. Protesters waved Palestinian flags, shouted out slogans. In Jordan, thousands are protesting to annul the peace treaty with Israel. At least 10,000 people have taken to the streets. Have a look.
We demand first the end of the peace treaty with Israel, the opening of the borders, and the liberation of Palestine.
And in Iraq, Shiite cleric Muqtada al-Sadr called on the government to vote to close the US embassy. His office said, and I'm quoting, "If the government and parliament do not abide by this demand, we will go for further actions, which we will later announce." And speaking at the United Nations, Iran's foreign minister said Hamas is ready to release the hostages, but the announcement came with a rider.
Hamas is ready to release civilian prisoners. On the other hand, the world should support the release of 6,000 Palestinians held in Israeli prisons.
Hamas, you see, wants more than prisoner release. One of its officials have in fact said that hostages will only be released if there is a ceasefire. Israel has revised the number of hostages to 229. The number given by the Israelis yesterday was 224. Israel says at least 54 of the hostages are Thai nationals. And in Sydney, the Jewish community laid out 220 balloons, 220 pair of shoes. This was in support of the hostages held by Hamas. The event was called Balloons of Hope. Israel's military has released this video. It is from the 7th of October. The IDF claiming that this video shows one of the brigades of the Israeli army engaging Hamas operatives. And this is Brussels. EU leaders are meeting here to discuss the war. Pro-Palestinian protesters gathered here, waving placards and calling for a halt to Israel's airstrikes.
Genocide! Stop! Stop! Genocide! Stop! Stop!
We shouldn't allow this. People can call it self-defense. People can call it banning terrorist attack. Well, if 60% of your victims are women and children, then I really doubt how much effective is this self-defense.
Gazans woke up to huge explosions on the 21st day of the war. That's a new normal in the enclave now, and a loud reminder to the broader region that it may be silently walking into a full-fledged war. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.